In our last episode, we witnessed the Industrial Revolution fundamentally reshape warfare with innovations like repeating rifles and the devastating machine gun. Yet, these advancements, while significant, merely hinted at the unprecedented scale of weapon development that would erupt during the two world wars, forever altering the landscape of conflict. The early 20th century would usher in an era where technological innovation became synonymous with national survival, driven by the sheer scale of global slaughter. From the trenches of the Western Front to the skies above Europe and the Pacific, the demand for decisive advantages spurred an arms race unlike any seen before. World War I, initially envisioned as a war of movement, rapidly devolved into a brutal stalemate on the Western Front by late 1914. Vast networks of trenches, stretching from the North Sea to Switzerland, defined a new, static form of combat. Machine guns and rapid-firing artillery made frontal assaults suicidal, leading to unimaginable casualties for minimal territorial gains. This brutal reality forced military strategists to confront an urgent question: how could this impenetrable deadlock be broken, and at what cost of innovation? The scale of human suffering and military stagnation created an intense pressure for technological breakthroughs. Both Allied and Central powers poured resources into developing new methods and machines to overcome the entrenched enemy. This desperate necessity accelerated weapon development at an astounding pace, transforming concepts once considered futuristic into immediate battlefield realities. The demand was not just for better versions of existing weapons, but for entirely new categories of instruments designed to breach the formidable defenses. Artillery, already a significant force, underwent massive transformations during World War I. Pre-war field guns gave way to enormous siege howitzers like Germany's Big Bertha, capable of firing shells weighing over a ton. The French developed the Paris gun, which could bombard the French capital from over 120 kilometers away, though its psychological impact often outweighed its tactical utility. Artillery barrages became a defining feature of World War I, laying waste to landscapes and pulverizing enemy positions, often with devastating but indecisive effect. The desperate search for advantage also led to the introduction of chemical warfare, a horrifying innovation that debuted at Ypres in April 1915 when German forces released chlorine gas. This was followed by phosgene and the infamous mustard gas, which caused agonizing blisters and internal damage. The initial shock weapon quickly led to the development of gas masks on all sides, reducing its tactical effectiveness but adding a new layer of terror and suffering to the battlefield. The ethical lines of warfare were irrevocably blurred. The machine gun, refined during the Industrial Revolution, found its true, terrifying purpose in World War I. Weapons like the German MG-08 and the British Vickers machine gun, capable of sustained fire, mowed down advancing infantry with horrific efficiency. Positioned in well-fortified trenches, a single machine gun team could hold off an entire battalion, making offensive operations incredibly costly. The machine gun became the ultimate defensive weapon, enforcing the static nature of the Western Front and shaping tactical doctrines for decades. Aircraft, initially used for reconnaissance and observation, rapidly evolved into instruments of combat during World War I. Early biplanes like the WWI, equipped with synchronized machine guns firing through the propeller, transformed aerial engagements into deadly dogfights. Legendary aces like Germany's Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron, and Canada's Billy Bishop became symbols of this new frontier of warfare. By 1918, fighter planes like the Sopwith Camel and the Spad S.13 were critical assets, not only for air superiority but also for ground attack and reconnaissance missions. Perhaps the most iconic innovation of World War I was the tank. Conceived by the British to break the trench stalemate, the Mark I landship made its combat debut at the Battle of Flers-Courcelette during the Somme offensive in September 1916. These armored behemoths, though slow and mechanically unreliable, demonstrated the potential to crush barbed wire, cross trenches, and withstand machine gun fire. Their initial appearance, lumbering across the battlefield, caused significant psychological shock among German troops. Despite their initial impact, early tanks like the Mark I were plagued by mechanical breakdowns, limited speed, and poor crew conditions. However, rapid development continued, leading to more refined designs such as the French Renault FT light tank in 1917, which introduced the revolutionary concept of a fully rotating turret. This innovation became the standard for tank design and remains so today. By the war's end, tanks were seen as a crucial component of future combined arms tactics, fundamentally altering the way military planners envision offensive operations. The close-quarters brutality of trench warfare also spurred the development of specialized small arms, particularly the submachine gun. The German MP-18, introduced in 1918, was one of the first true submachine guns, designed for stormtroopers clearing enemy trenches. Firing pistol-caliber cartridges at a high rate, it offered unprecedented firepower in confined spaces. Though too late to significantly alter the outcome of World War I, it foreshadowed a future where individual infantrymen wielded automatic weapons, a concept that would define urban and trench combat. The interwar period, between 1918 and 1939, was a crucial era of reflection and refinement. Military strategists analyzed the lessons of World War I, leading to the development of new doctrines and technologies. Nations like Germany, under General Heinz Guderian, meticulously studied tank warfare, advocating for deep armored thrusts supported by air power. Britain's JFC Fuller also proposed similar armored theories, emphasizing speed and maneuver over static trench warfare. This period saw theoretical advancements translate into practical designs, preparing the stage for an even more mechanized and destructive global conflict. Air power doctrine evolved dramatically in the interwar years, largely influenced by figures like Italian General Giulio Douhet, who championed strategic bombing as a means to break an enemy's will. Aircraft design rapidly progressed from biplanes to sleek, monoplane fighters and bombers. Iconic planes like the British Supermarine Spitfire and the German Messerschmitt Bf 109 emerged as the pinnacle of fighter technology, while bombers like the Dornier Do-17 and Handley Page Hampton were developed to deliver devastating payloads. Air superiority became a critical objective, leading to intense aerial battles during World War II. When World War II erupted in September 1939 with Germany's invasion of Poland, the world witnessed the devastating effectiveness of blitzkrieg, lightning war. This revolutionary doctrine combined fast-moving armored divisions, panzers, with close air support and motorized infantry, bypassing static defenses and creating deep penetrations. The Panzer III and IV tanks, designed for speed and tactical flexibility, spearheaded these assaults. This synchronized, combined arms approach shattered traditional defensive lines, demonstrating a fundamental transformation in offensive warfare. The tank continued its rapid evolution during World War II, with both Allied and Axis powers developing increasingly powerful and specialized designs. The American M4 Sherman, produced in vast numbers, became a symbol of Allied ground forces, while the German Panther and Tiger tanks, though fewer in number, boasted superior armor and firepower. Battles on the Western Front, particularly after the D-Day landings in Normandy in 1944, often involved massive tank engagements, where tactical prowess and technological superiority clashed in brutal fashion. On the Eastern Front, the scale of tank warfare reached unprecedented levels, epitomized by the Battle of Kursk in 1943, the largest tank battle in history. The Soviet T-34 medium tank, with its sloped armor, powerful gun, and excellent mobility, proved to be a formidable adversary to even the most advanced German designs. The Soviets also fielded heavy tanks like the KV series, and later the IS tanks, demonstrating their capability for mass production and innovative design. The Eastern Front became a proving ground for tank technology, with millions of armored vehicles engaged in titanic struggles. To counter the formidable tank threat, anti-tank weaponry also saw significant innovation. Early anti-tank rifles and grenades gave way to more effective man-portable launchers. The American bazooka, the German Panzerschreck, and the British PI-80, projector, infantry, anti-tank, provided infantry with the means to destroy enemy armor from a distance. These shoulder-fired rocket launchers and recoilless rifles became crucial for infantry survival and greatly influenced battlefield tactics, emphasizing the constant interplay between offensive and defensive weapon development. Naval warfare underwent a radical transformation during World War II, shifting dominance from battleships to aircraft carriers. The attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941, executed by Japanese carrier-based aircraft, demonstrated the decisive power of air projection over sea. Battleships, once the undisputed queens of the oceans, became vulnerable targets. Carriers like the USS Enterprise and the Japanese Akagi became the strategic centerpieces of naval power, their aircraft engaging in vast battles across the Pacific, influencing the outcome of entire campaigns. Beyond carriers, other naval weapons saw profound advancements. Submarines, particularly German U-boats, waged a devastating campaign against Allied shipping in the Atlantic, employing advanced torpedoes and wolf-pack tactics. Anti-submarine warfare evolved with the introduction of radar, sonar, ASTIC, and depth charges, leading to a constant technological cat-and-mouse game. The development of magnetic mines and acoustic torpedoes further complicated naval operations, forcing navies to develop sophisticated countermeasures to protect vital convoys. Strategic bombing continued to evolve from World War I theories, reaching devastating scales in World War II. Allied bombers like the American B-17 Flying Fortress and the British Avro Lancaster launched relentless raids on German cities and industrial centers. Germany, in turn, developed vengeance weapons, the V-1 flying bomb and the V-2 ballistic missile. The V-2, a supersonic rocket developed by Wernher von Braun, was the world's first true ballistic missile, a terrifying precursor to the intercontinental missiles of the Cold War. These long-range weapons brought the war directly to civilian populations. In the skies, propulsion technology made a monumental leap with the introduction of jet aircraft. Germany's Messerschmitt Me 262, the world's first operational jet fighter, entered service in 1944, capable of speeds far exceeding its propeller-driven counterparts. Though too late and too few to change the course of the war, its revolutionary design immediately rendered piston-engine fighters obsolete. The British Gloucester Meteor also saw limited combat, signaling a new era of aerial combat where speed and altitude would become paramount. Small arms development also continued its rapid pace. While bolt-action rifles like the Mauser K98K and the Lee Enfield remained prevalent, the American M1 Garand, a semi-automatic rifle, gave U.S. infantry a significant firepower advantage. Its 8-round end-block clip allowed for faster reloading and sustained fire compared to traditional bolt actions. This shift towards semi-automatic and eventually fully automatic weapons for the average soldier was a defining trend of the war, reflecting the need for increased individual combat effectiveness. Submachine guns, building on World War I experiences, became ubiquitous in World War II. The American Thompson submachine gun, known as the Tommy gun, became iconic for its use by Allied forces. The British Sten gun and the German MP40 were mass-produced, simple, and highly effective weapons, perfectly suited for the close-quarters fighting in cities and trenches. Their high rate of fire provided crucial suppressive capability and made them invaluable for commando raids and urban combat. They represented a move towards utilitarian design and mass production for modern warfare. Perhaps the most significant small arms innovation of World War II was the Sturmgewehr 44, STG-44, developed by Germany. This weapon is widely considered the world's first true assault rifle. It fired an intermediate cartridge, 7.92 by 33 mm Kurs, that bridged the gap between pistol rounds, used in SMGs, and full-power rifle rounds, offering controllable automatic fire at effective ranges. The STG-44 combined the firepower of a submachine gun with the range of a rifle, fundamentally changing infantry combat tactics and influencing nearly every subsequent military rifle design globally. Rocketry, though a nascent field, also made significant strides. The Soviet Katyusha rocket launcher, a multiple rocket launcher mounted on trucks, unleashed devastating barrages, earning it the nickname Stalin's organ. While lacking precision, its psychological impact and area saturation capabilities were immense. The German V-2 ballistic missile, as mentioned, represented an even more profound leap, demonstrating the potential for long-range strategic attacks with guided rockets, paving the way for future intercontinental ballistic missiles. These advancements shifted the paradigm of indirect fire. Beyond visible weapons, World War II also saw critical advancements in auxiliary technologies. The proximity fuse, developed by the Allies, caused shells to detonate automatically when near a target, drastically increasing the effectiveness of anti-aircraft and naval artillery. Radar, perfected by both sides, became indispensable for detecting aircraft, ships, and even U-boats, playing a crucial role in the Battle of Britain and the Battle of the Atlantic. These unseen innovations provided critical force multipliers, often turning the tide of battles. The most profound and terrifying development of World War II was undoubtedly the atomic bomb. Initiated by the United States with the top-secret Manhattan Project, a massive scientific and industrial undertaking, its goal was to harness nuclear fission for a weapon of unprecedented power. Led by figures like J. Robert Oppenheimer, the project involved thousands of scientists and engineers working across multiple secret sites, culminating in the first successful test, codenamed Trinity, in July 1945. The atomic bomb was deployed twice in August 1945, first against Hiroshima and then Nagasaki, bringing an abrupt and devastating end to World War II. Little Boy and Fat Man unleashed destructive forces previously unimaginable, instantly incinerating cities and killing hundreds of thousands. These events not only forced Japan's surrender but also introduced humanity to a new era of warfare, where a single weapon could annihilate entire populations. The world now possessed the means of its own destruction. The advent of the atomic bomb raised profound moral and ethical questions that continue to reverberate today. It fundamentally altered international relations, introducing the concept of mutually assured destruction and creating a new global power dynamic. The unprecedented destructive capability of nuclear weapons compelled nations to rethink the very nature of conflict, leading to an uneasy peace maintained by the threat of total annihilation. The human cost of these technological advancements forced a reckoning with the ultimate consequences of unchecked innovation. World War I and II propelled weapon development from the rudimentary machine guns of 1914 to the atomic bomb of 1945, a transformation of staggering proportions. Tanks, aircraft, submachine guns, and the first assault rifles redefined combat on land and in the air. This period established the pattern of continuous technological arms races, where each innovation spurred a counter-innovation, pushing the boundaries of what was possible in warfare. The legacy of these conflicts was not just the destruction they wrought, but the new, terrifying arsenals they created. The unprecedented scale of innovation in World War I and World War II forever changed the face of battle, creating a world where technological superiority often dictated the victor. But the end of World War II was not the end of this rapid evolution. In fact, it merely set the stage for an even more intense and dangerous arms race, as the world polarized into two superpowers. Next, we will delve into the terrifying new arsenal of the Cold War, where the doctrine of deterrence became the ultimate weapon, and humanity lived under the shadow of global annihilation.